first of all, welcome to my new home. I think this is the first video I'm doing at my new home, but more importantly, behind me I have the brand new BMW M135i, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you information on this car. We're going to go a little walk around the car, interior, exterior, and then we're going to take you for a drive and see just how good or not the new BMW M135i is. Okay, so here it is, a kind of first look at the brand spanking new BMW M135i. This has come in a gorgeous colour, and of course because it's the M Performance model, you've got all of these really nice kind of cesium grey accents. But let's be honest, there are some massive changes on this car from the BMW M140. The first of which, let's start with the front, because for me this is the area that I think a lot of people have made the most noise about, and for me I'd also agree that I think the front of this car isn't as aggressive looking, and I think a lot of that is driven by the front grille. Obviously the other thing with this car is that it no longer runs the B58 engine. It is running the 4-pot B48, which is a 2-litre turbo, and it produces 306 bhp and also 331 foot-pounds of torque. Now, the other element of this car, which obviously a lot of people have made a lot of noise about, is the fact that this car no longer is a rear-wheel drive. Now, this new BMW M135i comes in the form of an XDrive, so it is a 4-wheel drive platform now. It still delivers really good performance, so the performance of this car is a 0 to 60 time of 4.8 seconds, and it will do 155 miles an hour, so it's definitely no slouch. For me, the rear of this car does look really, really nice, and I think it really does work. And even if I was to kind of pan across over as well, just so you can kind of have a little look from a side profile, I also think this car looks really, really nice. It's got a bit more of a wedge shape to it. Now, prices for the BMW M135i start at £35,000, but when you start to chuck in a few extras, the price does rise. Now, this specific car, being a UK press car, costs about £42,000, and it's got £1,500 worth of optional extras in the form of the comfort pack, but also has a £1,500 optional extra when it comes to the tech pack. So what do you get from the comfort pack? Well, you get the heated steering wheel, which is a very, very nice addition to this. You also get the electric seats. You know, you can touch here, it locks the car, and then, as you would normally do, is open it. So keyless entry pretty much. As part of the tech pack option, which again, as I said, it costs 1,500 quid, you get things such as the adaptive LEDs, you get the head-up display, which is the first time we've seen this in a BMW 1 Series, the park assist, you get wireless charging. The other things that this car has with regards to optional extras is the adaptive suspension, which I think is a really good thing, so when you're kind of pulling along in comfort mode, it's going to feel very, very comfortable. We also get the adaptive cruise control. So yeah, I think what we'll do, we'll take this out for a drive and see how it performs. Now, you see all the fancy tech, all the glorious interior upgrades and everything that BMW have done to enhance the BMW M135i will mean nothing unless the car drives well. So let's see what this thing is like. I mean, my first impressions, I have literally just got into the cabin, and as a driver, from a driver perspective, the seating position feels brilliant. The steering wheel is a little bit chunky. It's very similar. Well, it's pretty much the same steering wheel that I quoted on the BMW A series launches. It has a lot of grip, so there's definitely a lot to hold on to here. But what I see, what I'm presented with as a driver, you know, the glorious head-up display. This is a really good head-up display. So much information is displayed in front of me. The kind of very nice virtual cockpit style digital dials, which will come standard on all of the 1 Series, all of the new 1 Series anyway. I've also got the sports display set up. Noise. Now, obviously, you're going to have a 4-cylinder sound as opposed to that glorious straight 6. But what this is BMW's fastest ever 4-pot engine. Yes, that's right. This is BMW's fastest ever 4-pot engine. Now, it shares the same kind of platform with the Mini Clubman JCW, same engine. We don't have the 8-speed ZF anymore. We've got an 8-speed kind of Steptronic box, which is a bit of a shame because that ZF gearbox was brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's
very quick. It's a very, very quick car. 4.8 to 60 in a hatch is very fast. And what it is as well, you get some good mid-range torque on it as well. It feels like it pulls all the way up towards the top as well, which is very good for a 2-litre turbo. Now, the way those gears engage is also quite interesting as well. Again, it almost feels like a preload, so you get that instant little push into the back of your seat the moment you switch in, which I quite like. The way this thing kind of feels as a driver, I've got it set into sport at the moment. Everything is set to sport. Yeah, those gear shifts they do thump a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. It kind of enhances to the driving experience. I've got everything set to sport. The handling, it's very good. It's very nice. The handling is very nice. I mean, I can kind of throw it around a little bit here, and yeah, it's very compliant. I don't think there'll be a lot of things that will unsettle this car. And of course, with the four-wheel drive platform, with the XDrive system, particularly in days like today, where unfortunately we're entering a very wet, what looks like a very wet weekend, and probably, well, a very wet winter period, that's where this car is going to be perfect. Granted, you will not have as much fun as you would have done in the old B58 M140 because of the fact that it's rear-wheel drive. However, you will still have a lot of fun in this car, and I think this car will still appeal to a lot of people. Now, the people that it won't appeal to will be the M140 owners, but I think that people who own M140s should at least experience it. Interior, it's a better car. You know, you have to give them BMW credit that. It's a much more pleasurable experience to be a driver, but also it will be for the passengers, and the rear passengers get more space in the back as well. But for me, I much rather enjoy putting it into sport and enjoying the car a little bit for what it is. I mean, the suspension on this car as well is, because it's adaptive, you get the best of both. And when you do put it in the sport setting, it feels very, very compliant. I mean, look, it's nice. I like this car, I really do. From a styling and design, like I've said at the start of the video, I like pretty much everything about this car except for the front. I'm still finding it a little bit difficult to buy into the front of the car, and I know over time it'll become the norm, but I find it a little bit difficult just to kind of buy into that front end. It looks, for me, it doesn't look as aggressive, in my opinion, as the older car. But performance, you know, it's definitely there. Yes, it's not as quick as the older M140. It won't be. It's lost 2 cylinders. It's lost a litre's worth of engine. But for what this car is, and for the price as well, you know, I mean, you get a lot of car for 36 grand. You really do. And obviously, like I said, you need to spec a few things in, like tech pack, comfort pack. These are all things that you probably want to spec in. For 40 grand, it is still, for me, a lot of car. I mean, right now, these roads, the brakes are good as well. Wow. Well, brakes are very good. Very good brakes. For me right now, this kind of epitomizes what this car is now. It kind of does, it's doing everything. Because where the older car wouldn't have been able to pull out of a junction like that without the rear wheel spinning or the traction control light having a bit of a fit, this car, in rainy, damp conditions with leaves on the road, just eats it alive, which means that when you were to kind of take this car out on something like a circuit, although it may not necessarily be quicker, I think around a tight technical circuit, tight technical twisty roads, this car will definitely hold its own. And BMW states that the performance is very similar of that of the old 1 Series. The noise for a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine isn't bad. I think that I would have, obviously, I love the pure noise you get from the straight 6, but this car, it doesn't sound bad. We rev out at just about 6,500 RPM. Now, I'll tell you what, I guess when you start to compare this car to some of its rivals, I mean, 306 horsepower, that's kind of really on par with the likes of the Golf R, the Mini JCW Club, and now ironically a kind of BMW group car is actually a competitor of this from a performance perspective, ironically. Golf R, Seat Cupra, Audi S3. I think that when BMW have created this car, I don't think they were actively going after the market for A45 and RS3. I definitely don't think that at all. Like with Mercedes when they brought in the A35 to rival that of the Golf, which is churning away when it comes to sales and monopolized a little bit of that market, whereas now there are other players involved. You've got this, the M135i, you've got the A35 AMG, which is another car, and now it gives more variety. I mean, that is solid grip there. Really solid grip. You know, yes, the B58 M140 owners are still going to sit there and, oh, I want something more. And I think we would all hope that in the future something bigger, better, or an M140i equivalent, you know, will come out in the form of the 1 Series, which would be very cool. But I think the way this has been priced, the way this has been positioned, the power element, the practicality element as well, I think this is more to cater to a much larger audience than, unfortunately, for a lot of you guys watching this, for the M140i owners. So I think for you guys, you'll either have to swallow the pill and say, do you know what, I am going to bite the bullet and I'm going to buy what is ultimately a better all-round car. But if you're like me and performance and fun factor is a real priority for you, I think that holding on to that M140, for now anyway, may be your best option. Yeah, in sport, obviously the different driving modes you have, you've got the comfort mode, you've got the sport mode, and obviously I've got it set to sport individual now. I've played around with a little bit here, so you can change every setting, do whatever you want with it. So, you know, you can play around with, you can have sport steering, comfort, engine, you know, whatever you want. You've got a plethora of choice. Which is what I think nowadays when it comes to customization of cars and customization of how a car feels to drive, having that option is really, really good. And obviously it's not just BMW that do this, it's everyone now. So you have plenty of different driving modes. But I guess what's kind of my summary on this kind of first drive review? My first impressions of it, it feels very good to drive. It's a very nice feel. There is so much tech in this. Like I said, the overall package as an overall 1 Series is so much more enhanced than that of the old car. The performance as it is, it's down. It still feels good. It still feels punchy, and a 4.8 second 0 to 60 time is more than respectable. And for the public road, you don't really need much more. So yeah, I like it. Oh, I didn't mention panoramic sunroof, also very cool. These seats, winning. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, guys. A massive thanks to BMW for the opportunity to drive this car. A little bit late to the party with this video, which is a shame, but I hope this gives you a little bit more information and my own perspective of what this first drive is like in the BMW M135i. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like the video, make sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.